Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
A former F&M MP slams government's mid-year budget. The police force to get a new commissioner next month. Day 2 of CARICOM meetings in Barbados. Plus, how you can avoid getting sick while traveling.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Former Free National Movement MP Vaughn Miller slammed the administration's mid-year budget today, labeling it woefully deficient. Miller says while the government has said the supplementary budget addresses Hurricane Dorian issues, he believes it doesn't even come close to tackling preparedness for future monster storms. His comments prompted swift reaction from F&M MPs. Jasmine Brown has more.
Miller did not hold back as he slammed the mid-year budget, insisting it was seriously deficient.
I find this supplementary budget woefully deficient.
That's how Golden Isles Member of Parliament Vaughn Miller described the 2019-2020 mid-year budget as he gave his contribution to the debate in the House of Assembly on Wednesday morning. Miller gave a scathing assessment as he slammed the budget, saying it had missed the mark at a time when the country is still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Dorian.
I expected more in this because we've never experienced it before. So since we've experienced it, and since they're saying because of climate change, we can experience more of this. Mr. Speaker, I don't care if Dorian was 2 hours over New Providence, it would devastate us. So I didn't have to hover over us for 2 days, like Grand Bahama. New Providence cannot take it.
Officials have reported that Dorian caused $3.4 billion in damage, losses, and additional costs. During his contribution last week, Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest has said the government has had to borrow nearly $600 million to meet the huge financial obligations left behind following Hurricane Dorian, which caused widespread destruction in Abaco and Grand Bahama. But Miller says there should be more focus on preparing the entire country for the likelihood of another Category 5 storm.
Since this supplementary budget was generated by a hurricane, I just expected that a part of the government's response to provide an estimate, an indication in the budget of the level of funding required by NEMA to carry out its hurricane preparedness.
Miller also accused the Minutes administration of being ill-prepared for Hurricane Dorian, as he asserted even shelters were not up to par. His comments prompted swift reaction from several government members of Parliament who interrupted Miller again and again as they sought to refute his claims.
This budget is chiefly about restoring the country after Dorian.
The budget itself reflected the strategies of the government to address the potential for storm. And as I said, we've exhausted those strategies, and we needed additional borrowing, which is what's reflected in the supplemental.
But Miller did not back down as he called on the government to do better for the sake of the Bahamian people. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The Royal Bahamas Police Force is set to get a new commissioner next month, according to the National Guardian. Commissioner Anthony Ferguson will officially demit office before the end of March. Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police Paul Roll is reportedly tapped to become the next Commissioner of Police. Roll, who is in charge of the discipline, joined the Royal Bahamas Police Force in 1983. Ferguson, who turned 60 this year, is on sick leave and returns to office on Monday. This news comes just over 2 months after National Security Minister Marvin Dames told senior police officers not to make up their beds and get comfortable in their positions. Well, Dames shot down questions about the future of Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Tellis Bethel and Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson yesterday. Bethel was placed on leave last October and was expected to return to work last month, but it did not happen. Last month, Dame said Ferguson was nearing the end of his time as commissioner. He has been on medical leave for several weeks.
No, I can't. No, I'm not going to go down the road. The Commissioner of Police is on, he's on leave. He's entitled to leave. right? And the Commodore is on leave. As I said before, you know, as we move forward, if there's anything that we feel that you ought to know, we'll be more than happy to share it. It's a non-story at this point.
A man who spent 2 years behind bars for molesting a 9-year-old girl was gunned down last night on Wilson Track. Jared Haight spoke to the man's family and filed this report.
Family members tell Our News that Tuesday's shooting victim is 30-year-old Valdez McKinney, the father of a 4-year-old girl and a convicted child molester.
He wasn't no role model child because he'd been in jail before.
According to police, McKinney was killed at around 10 p.m. on Tuesday night while sitting at the rear of a home on Wilson Track. Officers say he was approached by a male armed with a firearm who shot him before running away. Paramedics took him to hospital where he died.
Words can't hardly describe.
McKinney's father, 54-year-old Wellington McKinney, struggles with his son's checkered legacy, which he says also included stints of drug dealing.
How do you feel about, that choice of path?
I don't feel good about that choice of path.
However, it was the indecent assault conviction that McKinney says put distance between him and his son.
I even don't want to discuss that really,
According to the Nassau Guardian, McKinney pleaded guilty to indecently assaulting a 9-year-old girl before Chief Magistrate Duane Ferguson Pratt in 2017. When he did get out of jail, the man's father says he struggled to get a job and turned back to selling drugs.
See, I doing my little thing. I said, what little thing? He said, And since he said, I know what he's talking about.
Despite his son's troubled past, the grieving father says his son had a close relationship with his 4-year-old daughter. The child's mother spoke to us, choosing not to show her face on camera.
Are you sad?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. Nothing I could do.
He used to play with kids and everything, man. He carried them out riding. That's a he carried them out riding. He was a good man. I respect him.
The elder McKinney says he was disappointed in his son when he went to prison and avoided visiting him during his stint. He says he doesn't condone his actions when he was alive, but he wants his son's killers to be held responsible.
I just hope that they be caught and be brought to justice.
Now, about 24 hours before McKinney's death, a man was gunned down on Two Trop Corner and Fritz Lane. McKinney's death, though, bringing the 2020 murder count, according to Our News records, to 10. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right, thanks, Jared. Well, the Bahamas may look to engage the expertise of CARICOM professionals in some areas of hurricane rebuilding while joining with our member states in the continued fight against blacklisting. Those are just some of the deliberations coming out of a meeting with Prime Minister Minnis and Caribbean leaders in Barbados. Jerome Sawyer has more.
While the Bahamas' position is unchanged on issues like the free movement of people, the Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, indicated that we could be open to allowing certain expertise into the workforce.
We should keep some catalog, some diary of professionals that's being kept by CARICOM, and each country, their needs in terms of employment needs, we can just contact CARICOM, and CARICOM can dispatch those individuals for us or inform us as to who are available. I think that is important, especially the Bahamas, because we have a severe shortage of surveyors.
And those surveyors are important to our rebuilding effort and where land is being given out for new home and business construction. The Prime Minister has been meeting with his regional counterparts for 2 days at these intersessional meetings here in Bridgetown, Barbados. This is where leaders and delegates caucus to address any ongoing issues and any new crises since last they met. This time it's coronavirus. A testing facility set up by the Caribbean Public Health Agency called CARFA is quickly analysing all suspected cases.
Those individuals, they put together the program so that we work and we function as one unit. We're following WHO's policy.
Described as a direct threat to our sovereignty, leaders here continue to rail against blacklisting by bodies like the European Union. While pleased with the Bahamas' recent removal from the EU watch list, the Prime Minister admitted it's all about having the right allies.
We work together in moving our entire grouping of blacklisting, and we try to work as one. We have committees, we have organizations that deal with that, so we speak not with one voice, but we speak with the entire voice of CARICOM, and we're aggressively moving towards that. It cannot be just government. We must involve the private sector and everyone who has such skills, such knowledge. We must invite them all and bring them all.
Prime Minister Minnis is set to assume the chairmanship of CARICOM in the not-too-distant future, but he indicated to us this morning that he has asked for that to be delayed. Now, we can only assume that given all of the work that has come with the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, this may not be the best time to assume that role. On day 2 of the CARICOM Intersessional meeting in Bridgetown, Barbados, I'm Jerome Sawyer reporting for Our News.
Thanks, Jerome. Well, following the announcement by Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis that the heads of agreement for the Grand Lucayan Resort will be signed on March 2nd, PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper says he's concerned about what could possibly be in that deal. Bethany McDermott reports.
But I think the devil is in the detail. This government has made numerous other promises with respect to the Grand Lucayan Resort. They anticipated that this deal would have been done in a few months. It's now been 2 years, and they now announced that there's going to be a signing of a heads of agreement.
In August 2018, government made the decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan Resort from Hong Kong conglomerate Hutchison Whampoa for $65 million. At the time, government received heavy criticism for the move from the opposition. Since the purchase, government has spent tens of millions of dollars on separation packages and upkeep. Fast forward to January 2020, and government announced a $16.1 million spend for maintenance at the Grand Lucayan Resort. Cooper feels government has spent too much money already.
The government overpaid for this property. They did a bad deal at the beginning. They paid more than the appraised value. They're now very desperate. They don't have the capacity or wherewithal to effect a proper negotiation even before Hurricane Dorian. They're now more desperate than before, and we are very concerned.
His comments come days after Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar touted the deal, noting that the deal is in the best interest of Grand Bahamians. Meantime, Cooper says government needs to be more transparent.
We call on the government for more transparency. Ideally, if they would release the details in advance, if possible, we might be able to assist them with the negotiation, because so far they've done a very poor job. And I'm very concerned of their capacity to negotiate, as well as their level of desperation that can be seen by the people on the other side of the table. Ultimately, I'm concerned that the Bahamian people will get a bad deal, will be left holding the bag, and ultimately will pay a lot more for this property than we will receive when it's sold under the new heads of agreement.
Now, once the HOA is tabled in the House of Assembly, Cooper says the opposition will pay close attention to that document to ensure that the deal was made in the best interest of Grand Bahamians. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
All right, thanks, Bethany. Still to come, the opposition leader shedding light on identity theft in the country, plus tips to avoid getting sick while traveling. Stay tuned.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Following a declaration by Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson that identity theft is on the rise in the Bahamas, the opposition leader is urging the government to handle these cases delicately. Georgia Bain reports.
During Monday's sitting of the House of Assembly, Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson revealed that the country is facing a spike in identity theft cases. Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Brave Davis said the issue must be handled delicately and on a case-by-case basis, as some may not have known that they were using false identities. Johnson said the Department of Immigration has been finding migrants using dead people's birth certificates to apply for Bahamian citizenship.
Very often, it is not the person who's using the birth certificate that stole anything, but rather it may have been thrust upon that person.
Johnson said those sworn in as citizens who are later found to have stolen identities will have that citizenship revoked. While Davis agreed that it should be revoked, he said what happens to the individuals afterwards should depend on the circumstances.
If it is discovered that a citizenship is granted to a person, and there's some discrepancy in the process, like for example that the name that the person may have used a birth certificate that did not belong to them, well, then the question is, yes, you would in fact revoke that citizenship. Now, what happens to the person afterwards? Again, you have to look at the circumstances.
In recent months, there have been a number of people arraigned for fraud. In several cases, discrepancies were discovered when people attempted to apply for Bahamian citizenship.
I know of at least 2 or 3 cases in the past where babies were brought into the Bahamas, and they grew up knowing themselves as baby A. And only when they became of age and they thought that their name was John Doe, and somebody in the family, through some jealousy or envy, reported that, well, look, this really isn't this person. And that person even got a passport.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
As the world keeps an eye on the quick spread of the coronavirus, just how well are you protecting yourself while traveling? One physician is tonight giving you tips on how you can avoid picking up any diseases at an airport.
Hand sanitizers that are all over the airport, all over these hospitals, etc. Mask if you are needing it. Definitely you want to use it.
It's atop the list of concerns for those with upcoming travel. How to avoid getting sick or contracting a virus. With the rapid spread of the Wuhan coronavirus on every country's radar, what are some simple things you can do to protect yourself while traveling? Doctors Hospital Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sheena Antonio Colley says a good way to start is with hand sanitizer.
You want to rub and make sure that it's getting in there. You want to use your fingers, you want to cover it all to make sure indeed that you are really sanitizing your hands.
And as you'll probably be touching handles or elevator buttons during your airport commute, Dr. Colley says wipes aren't a bad idea, but to be sure you've got the right ones.
Some of them may be more cosmetic, so you really want to get hand sanitizing wipes, all right? And to use on surfaces as well as to use on your hands. But the hand sanitizer is a better option because you will cover more surface of your hands when you use a hand sanitizer.
Then there's the concern of those airborne diseases like tuberculosis, measles, and most recently, the coronavirus. According to Dr. Colley, a face mask is a pretty good item to have.
It is advisable that you will carry a mask with you, especially in busy airports, international airports, such as you mentioned, Atlanta. That is one example of a busy airport that you might want to go ahead and use the mask. The flexi part of it is where your nose goes. So here I am. You have a nice friend tie it for you, okay, on your head and back of your neck.
So it should look like this?
Correct, should look just like this.
Dr. Colley urges all those with any sort of immune compromise, including cancer patients, diabetics, and those with rheumatological conditions, to use these practices while traveling.
Definitely wash your hands going in and out of the bathroom. Use soap that they have provided there. Hand sanitizers that are all over the airport, all over these hospitals, etc. Mask if you are needing it. Definitely you want to use it. You want to change your mask. And generally be safe.
Still to come, Atlantis gears up for its spring break sensation. Stay tuned.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
In just a few weeks, Atlantis will do spring break like it's never done it before. For 4 days, the resort's spring break sensation will take over its beach, where all those off in school looking to soak up some sun, along with a whole lot of partying, can do it on the beach on Paradise Island.
This is the site where we're actually going to set it up right here. So when you come back and come see us, you're going to see a huge 36-foot stage set up, and it's going to be 25 feet in the air. It's going to be spectacular speakers and lighting, and I mean really a production, and we're very excited about that.
And Atlantis is the backdrop.
And Atlantis has the backdrop, and then I mean, how do you beat this, right? That's natural. You can't beat the water here. It's spectacular.
Spring Break Sensation runs from March 11th to the 14th and includes some of the world's top DJs, including Little John. According to Atlantis' VP of Food and Beverage, Michael McDonough, it's open for everyone looking to have a good time.
So we went to a $109 price tag, and that includes all you can drink and admission for $109 plus VAT, right?
And for the 4 days?
That's for each day. Each day. So it's $130 all in for each day that you want to come. Now, if you want to do a bundle, we can do a 2-day bundle, a 3-day bundle, and a 4-day bundle of Sensation Beach Party. So the prices get a little bit more aggressive. If you do a 4-day, you're going to save 20% off that $130 a day. So if you do that, you're going to save yourself probably about another $100.